Let's start this video off in one of my favorite towns in Switzerland, Zermatt. I recently spent 4 days here and it was one of my favorite parts of my time in Switzerland. It's a charming village shadowed over by the daunting Matterhorn mountain, and there's just something magical about this place. Now the city is full of shops and restaurants, including my favorite, McDonald's. Now one thing I love is how the glacial river runs through the town. It's a distinct grayish turquoise color, and it's one of the best places to get views of the Matterhorn. I mean, there's just so much to do in Zermatt, whether you want to take hikes around the town or enjoy the numerous gondolas. Now one thing you gotta do while you're there is take the Gonagrat Railway. It starts in Zermatt and takes you up to 3,100 meters to enjoy some of the best views of the Matterhorn. I'm not gonna lie, it's freaking expensive. It costs about $140 a person, but it's a once in a lifetime experience that you gotta do if you're there. Now after, we're gonna visit Lemonsee. Now this may be one of my favorite hikes I did. You start by taking up a cable car, and when you reach the top, you're going to go through a 3-kilometer tunnel through the mountain. I believe it was originally built by a company who made the dam, and now you could walk through it. We reached the end and we arrived at the lake. It's a striking turquoise color surrounded by an amphitheater of mountain walls. Now the hike to the top was freaking hard. It's very steep and felt like it went on forever, but after about an hour, we made it to the iconic viewpoint. It's this rocky peninsula that gives you a perfect view of the reservoir below. It was so cool to see how the clouds changed the color and lighting of the landscape. I just had a blast running around up there. I mean, there's no greater feeling than running free in the mountains. After, we're going to go for a swim in Valle Versasca. Now located in the Italian region of Switzerland, Valle Versasca is famous for having this medieval bridge that goes over some of the clearest river water in the world. I've been there many times now, and every single time I'm just baffled by the beauty of this place. The water is crystal clear, and the bridge is a prime place to do some cliff jumping. It took me a while to build up courage to jump, but I was able to throw a gainer into the freezing cold water. Afterwards, we're going to visit Lac des Moissons. Now located right on the French and Swiss border, Lac des Moissons is one of the most impressive dams in Switzerland. It has this very distinct concave shape. The surrounding mountains are just jaw-dropping. Now to get there, you can drive up some windy roads or take one of the road's steepest funiculars. Now above Lac des Moissons, there's a second yet smaller reservoir that might still be iced over when you're there. I mean, just such an incredible area you gotta check out if you're near the French border. Now after, we're going to take a drive on the Furka Pass, located about a 2-hour drive from Grindelwald. This is one of the most famous mountain pass drives in the Alps, as it was featured in the James Bond film Goldfinger. The pass is full of hairpin turns and incredible views. You can stop and marvel at the Rhone Glacier, and also nearby is the Grimsel Pass. It crosses right over the cantons of Bern and Valais, and it's full of several glacial reservoirs. And if you're into driving, you definitely got to check out these mountain passes. Now our next destination is Lauterbrunnen. This is possibly the most beautiful village on earth. It's a valley of over 72 waterfalls, and it's what inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's Rivendell. Now to get to Lauterbrunnen, it's about a 2-hour car ride from Zurich. You'll just have an incredible time just walking around the village and marveling at all the beauty. When I was there, I found this little park right at the base of the town's waterfall, and gosh, I just love this place. While you're there, it's hard to believe it even exists. After, we're going to visit the village of Mürren. Now just from Lauterbrunnen, it's just a few minutes drive down the valley. Like many places in Switzerland, you can't drive to Mürren. You gotta take a gondola from Stechelberg. Now the city is just enchanting. It's filled with Swiss chalets and incredible views. The main reason I wanted to go to Mürren is to do the iconic Via Ferrata. I rented some gear at the Intersport store for about $25, and I was all ready to go. Before you start, you walk through this tunnel. It's a good initiation and gets you pumped or nervous for what's to come. You then follow the path, and it's pretty chill for the first bit. You just walk through a little forest, but then you get to the cliffs. There was this base jump platform to jump into the valley below. Just standing on it made my stomach drop. Anyways, after that, the Via Ferrata gets a little wild. My favorite part is the section that goes across this sheer cliff face with the 1,000-foot drop right below you. I mean, it's perfectly safe as long as you're clipped in to the iron wire with your gear. I was just so exhilarating. I went back and did it 2 more times because I liked it so much. My camera doesn't give it justice. The combination of the 1,000-foot drop with the views is unforgettable. Another incredible place to visit in the area is Schilthorn. It's an iconic mountain peak above Mürren. Now the lift tickets were on the pricey side, around $125 a person, and you take up several lifts through the clouds until you reach the top. The Schilthorn is famous for being featured in the 1969 James Bond film. There's a lot of 007 memorabilia on top. The views are jaw-dropping up there. You'll get clear views of the Jungfrau, Monk, and Eiger Mountains. You can enjoy a meal in the rotating restaurant that completes a full rotation every 45 minutes. We followed a trail that led us on the ridge. I saw a guy preparing to paraglide, and we found some little huts to shelter from the wind. The weather conditions change so fast up there. 1 second it would be clear, and then a few minutes later it would be covered in clouds. I mean, gotta love those high altitude conditions. After, we're gonna head to the mountains of Appenzell. Located in eastern Switzerland, these mountains quickly became one of my favorite places I've ever been to. It's home to massive, jagged mountains that look like something out of Lord of the Rings. To get up the mountain, I took a gondola and then hiked about an hour to reach a mountain hut hotel on the top. Me and my buddy Danny decided to stay the night at the hotel so we could watch the sunset. We got all settled in and then we ventured off to get the perfect spot. The clouds were covering the sky, so we only had like 15 minutes of sunlight to get the shot. Danny whipped out his FPV and we got some of the most incredible shots I've ever seen. I have to say this is my top 5 sunsets of my life, and I can't believe the beauty of these mountains. They're just so massive and green. It's what dreams are made of.